AFTERBUZZ fans, here we are, Taken episode 7, when Bryan Mills goes solo with a special guest today.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
We changed up with the music here a little bit.
Okay.
I love this theme song. Was on another TV show that I love, so it kind of fits the motif of our show, kind of an action-driven show. Welcome back, everybody. Here we are, episode 7, solo on Taken, the TV show. Like, now, before we get in, let's get into this. Today, we are Sans 1. That means, but your personality makes up for it doubly.
Yes.
We have the beautiful Brittany Mcgowan here joining me today.
Hello.
Now, Brittany, where can everyone find you before we get going here?
You can find me on Instagram, Brittany_Mcgowan, and then on Twitter, Britt Mcgowan.
You're there.
Yeah.
You got it all worked out now.
Yes, I'm
and
there.
guys, I'm your other host, Mike Kalinowski. You can find me at Mike Kalinowski. Well, welcome, everybody.
Yes.
And as you see, our special guest that I was teasing in the opening there, no, it's not one of the cast members. It's this little guy.
Actually, better.
Sitting next to me here.
So cute. Can you please just show? Yeah, you have to pick him up. There
It's
we
gonna
go.
kill the cool vibe of our show here.
It's
But this
Indy!
we got my dog, Indiana Bones, joining us today.
Literally, you might as well have brought like the whole cast and crew here. Everyone is obsessed with Indy
What's going
right
on?
now.
What is it?
It
He's
is-
looking at me like, can we please go home? This sucks.
No, and he's been so good. We've
No, but he's
literally
been
been
great
like
with everybody.
passing him around.
Yes, he's been
And we
great.
miss you, Brooke, if you're watching.
Yes, we
miss
do.
you.
Guys, shout out some love to Brooke on Twitter if you reach out to her. She
Yes.
was sick and kind of got
Yeah.
called away. And
Unfortunately,
that's
so
the
we
worst
miss
thing to
you.
be is sick, like, and you don't want to come to work.
Oh,
that kind of stuff. So,
So we love you and we miss you.
we will. But I hopefully, she would have watched the episode, but this was, it's a fantastic episode. Now, we sat at the end of the episode. I love this show, and it's not hard to talk about. Some shows that I do, or if I go on, you have to kind of find things to like, because you never want to. People put hard work into a show,
Yeah, exactly.
They really do. Long hours, and you don't want to ever just disparage someone that's their job. But sometimes it's maybe not your cup of tea or just not a good show. But this show, especially this episode, just kind of fires on all cylinders. We got some great dynamics with the team.
I loved it. Oh my gosh, this is by far. Not to say that any other episodes weren't as good.
Right, yeah.
But you always have a favorite, and this was by far my favorite episode for a couple of reasons.
Yeah,
so I loved it.
Do you want to get into what those were now?
You know what? Let's go over the recap because
Okay,
I have
save
some
it for
points
the end.
though. Yeah, exactly. I loved
you,
it though.
You say this because the show has such a consistent tone.
Right.
But every episode does feel like we had the Bank Vault episode. Remember that we had to break in, and then last week's was like we almost like, wow, there's no Bryan in this episode almost.
Right. I think that was, and we'll just jump into it.
Yeah.
That was one of the reasons why I absolutely loved it. I felt like it brought us back into the storyline with the characters, where I feel like the last couple of episodes they have been kind of just. I don't want to say all over the place because that's definitely not what it is. But I just feel like this was like a through line to the characters that we have been.
It's a great point that you say that because we had our Riley episode standalone with Jennifer several episodes ago. Then last week was John.
Yeah.
But we'll get to it at the end. The payoff with the team.
Yes.
Because now we care about these characters. I would have loved to have seen like Rem, Scott, and all those other guys get standalone episodes because
Maybe
this
it's
one
coming.
It would be, but like I think, and we'll get to it at the end. But that scene with all the guys,
I loved it.
it was so good, and you're like, oh, he's earning his place with them.
Right.
I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get into it. So it starts off with Bryan being tortured, and now this is the episode when I did that whole that press event for them. That Bryan or Clive had talked about. Yep. All right, you guys. There's a big episode coming up where I'm going to be naked. And that's
he
everyone
was. I
everyone was
noticed that.
talking about it. They want more Clive shirtless. It's like, well, we do an episode where I'm naked. And it starts off with he's naked.
He's naked.
With
I wonder
the glass door that had frost kind of over the strategically placed.
Exactly. I wonder if the girls were like, yes,
they
my
love this one. I
episode,
know.
my episode. Yeah.
But so it's a little brief torture scene, and then it flashes back 72 hours earlier, and we get Asha and Bryan for
Hot and
sexy
heavy.
time.
Whoa.
Sexy time.
Went right into it. We both we were watching. We were like,
oh.
Yeah. okay.
Yeah, a little the romance is going on there, which is kind of like.
You know what? I didn't hate because I missed Asha in the last episode. And I mentioned that Asha's actually one of my favorite characters. I really like her a lot. So I was really happy that she was in there. I mean, it was definitely like, whoa. But I was like, okay, at least she's back.
And it's cool because this show, and there's 10 you know, gosh, I have all the characters. There's 10
like
pretty much regulars on this show.
Like 100%.
You know, I mean, so to see that, and I love that not every episode we need to see everyone.
Yeah, I do too.
There's a couple shows I follow and do shows on where I feel like they have to cram the characters in because, well, they need to be in the episode. And then you're watching it. Like there was one I watched in the last episode of another show where I'm just like, their plot and their whole side story was pointless. It was like, well, we've got to have them in the episode, so let's write this scene stuff.
Right.
And I would have had much rather seen the major characters get the more story.
Right.
But this, it's like that last episode, we didn't need Asha. We
didn't need it. But I feel like it was nice to see her. And when you're not cramming characters in, it becomes, there's like an excitement. Like, okay, cool, we're back with them. So I liked that a lot.
So then, now this was a little weird. So Christina's talking on the phone. She has a dinner set up with a famous chef. She's talking about, you know, getting the souffles and stuff. So she's kind of got this dating thing going on.
Right.
Kind of. And she's with Harry.
Right.
Now this was the agent, her friend that had died. I think it was it the second or third episode?
Yeah, the husband.
Right?
Yeah.
The husband
Which we were kind of like, we had a feeling. Remember, we were kind of talking about that. But it wasn't the right time. We were like, this is not okay.
Yeah.
But there was definitely, let's just say there was definitely some sort of a connection. Right. Something was there.
And then in Riley's episode, where it featured her, they did the whole contact information. So he's been there.
He has been there.
So now there's a date.
Yes.
And I think it was kind of weird because Christina stops Riley and she goes, okay, just so you know, going to dinner.
Like, yeah, exactly. She put it all out there. She's like,
because Riley's kind of like,
yeah, like, wait a second.
What's going on here with you? Right. What are you dating here? And it's weird because you've got that. You've got Bryan and Asha. So it's like they, you know, Asha wasn't married but he was just a sister friend. But then Christina's got that thing. But that's human nature.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that happens. You fall for people that you can't say who you fall for. Just happens.
True. And that's true.
You know, they're not really shown it much, but it's a nice character building. You see that she has a life outside of the ODNI.
Exactly.
So it's kind of cool.
I think it was kind of cool too. It just reminds us of that human side because we always are seeing her just fierceness.
Yeah, right.
And so it's just nice to see her kind of, you know, like smirk on the phone, and you know, and Riley kind of catching her in that moment. Yes. And so I thought that was, I liked that actually.
Yeah. So and we found out she's got information that Thomas Vitek, this character, was caught coming into the United States and actually landing in Canada, Montreal, and he was disguised as a priest. Right. And European special forces did not pick up on this. I think they said the British caught it in time.
Exactly.
So they are alerted to this, and it turns out that Vitek is the weapons supplier for the Mejia cartel.
Multiple things, but specifically.
So that's why it's red flag.
Right, because he said, I remember in the scene, he said cartel, and he was like, cartel. Right. Yeah. You know, so one specifically.
That's true. Yeah.
So that was.
So that cancels dinner with Christina
Exactly.
and Harry. But then Bryan gets the call. He's in the middle of sexy time. He's got to go.
Right.
And she's kind of like, what? She's like, he's like, hey, I got to go.
But I thought it was interesting too when he gets in the car and she's like, we've been trying to reach you for 5 minutes. So it just goes to show that he does really care about her. And did they have the conversation about the parents? I'm trying to think.
That was there.
Okay.
I want to say it was the scene right before, because these were kind of in a cut really quick, but it's like, it was when they walked in.
When they walked in, they were talking about the parents. So that was also being...
So Asha wants Bryan. It's the step forward in the relationship that everyone deals with. You got to meet the parents.
Right. And so that's interesting. It goes to show, even though she wasn't in the episode, they are moving in that direction.
It's funny. I thought about that. And for me personally, I think I'm close in age to Clive and on the show.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, it always seems to me meeting the parents is like a young person's thing. Like when you're in your 20s and start dating, but like when you're a grown man,
you get nervous about that?
I haven't dated anyone in years to meet
Would
parents.
You get nervous about it?
Yes.
Think I would get nervous?
Yes.
Like that's a huge step. I feel like.
Yes.
I don't know.
I'm old school. Like I'm the kind of guy I'd want to ask the father's permission to marry the daughter.
That's so awesome.
But like, permission's the wrong word. But like, you know,
but your blessing or what? Yeah, you know what?
So Bryan to see that, but it was still kind of like. I like seeing that because Bryan's a grown man,
right?
Who's military background, but he still is kind of like
nervous.
Parents, I was like
yeah, exactly.
Right.
He's like okay.
So I love that. And again, it's a layer to the character. He's not this superhuman guy. He's kind of like nervous about meeting the parents,
which is cool. I like that too. I really, really like that.
So then we find out through Christina and Bryan talking about the cartel. We talked about that. So then Bryan pays a visit to Mejia. Now, again, this show, maybe I should stop watching the previews for next week's episode. You know what I'm saying? Because it always messes me up. Because this one I thought was going to be the confrontation between the two of them. This is going to deal with what's going to happen. Right. And it wasn't. It was just him going to him going, hey. But this was cool because the team is watching him, and he's in there. And he slides the chair next to him. He didn't do across the table.
I thought that was so funny. Yeah. He went right next to him.
So it's almost because you would think you'd want to look that person directly in the eye. Right. But Bryan's like, no, I'm going to sit you next to you. Like he's not scared. He doesn't need that table between the two of them. He's coming close to him. And so Bryan is sitting there, and he's like, they want to know if I,
can do it. This is a psychological test, right?
Yeah. And this will never go away. The fact that you killed my sister. Right. It will never go away, but I'm controlling it enough. What's going on? Right.
But can I? It was like, can I control the urge? And he did.
And he did.
I thought that was huge too, because them allowing him. I think like the one of the huge themes of this whole episode, if I had to just put one word on it, would just be trust. And I think, absolutely. I mean, he was the first person that Christina called, that they called, was Bryan. Remember, she was like, just Bryan?
Yeah, that's right.
And so I feel like that was another step forward for them together.
It was a great point. This title was called Solo. We find out at the end why, but it could have been Trust.
Trust.
That's a great episode, great name. Yeah. Because then Bryan is threatening him like, well, if you're not going to help us, we're going to give you to federal authorities, which was weird. And I'm kind of curious why
he was so scared of that.
Yeah, they didn't really get into that. But I mean, obviously he is wanted. He's kind of like the El Chapo.
But you would think that he would be like, yeah, send me in, because then he'd have people.
Or that, or the fact that there were so many other organizations that would want to kill him.
That's true. Knowing that he's
in federal custody, he could have other cartels hired guys to come and shank him in prison. At least here, it's by himself.
Right.
There's
or
no
the
one
guards.
Around him. Right. Something. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
but
might
that was
have had a
weird.
Chance to escape, but at least there, he's safe.
Exactly.
He's not free, but he's safe.
I thought that was
so I'm
actually,
like, okay.
I didn't really think about that's true, because he was very scared.
They don't dumb it down for us.
No.
We kind of have to think about that.
Yeah,
so it's
exactly.
great.
Exactly.
But they do get the fact that he is he supplies the weapons for they kind of figure that out. But they set the meet. They find out how they kind of they deal with this guy and where he's kind of out of, and they find it's Montreal. So the team goes there, and this is weird because Christina came with them.
Yeah,
which I was kind of like, she's on the stakeout with them because they're kind of keeping an eye out for Mejia, and I was kind of like, what was the point of having her?
I know, and they had a conversation about that. Yeah. I know in the car, Bryan and her, they had kind of mentioned. He kind of mentioned like, okay, you're here, and she's like, oh well, what's wrong with that?
I guess she's an operative.
Right, and she said I miss being on the field, so maybe.
That's right. Yeah, good catch on that one. I forgot about that.
But that is interesting. I wonder if that's going to play in the future episodes, and maybe she wants to. Yeah, that's interesting.
But it was cool because she wasn't just giving the orders. She understands the risks, and she's out there with the team.
Right.
But so then we kind of see this thing go down. These giant, not giant, SUVs. There's a kind of a transport of SUVs come in there. Right. They're making a deal. And Christina identifies Jimmy Dunn, who is they identify him as the weapons buyer, but he's also the East Coast. They had a name for it, but it meant basically like Chicago, New York, New Jersey, all this Upper East Coast. He is the head of all that.
Like he almost became bigger. Like they're like, oh snap!
Yeah, he is kind of like the head boss of boss, of this area. Like they mentioned Whitey Bulger, who was a real life criminal. So they kind of bring that. Yeah, Whitey Bulger. I want to say.
I didn't know that.
I could be wrong, guys. If you are listening to this or watching this right now, I believe that was the basis for Jack Nicholson's character in The Departed.
Oh, really?
The basis for it. He was kind of like that. Cool. Yeah, Whitey Bulger is a real.
Wait, was he? He was like a.
He's a mob guy. Just a mob boss. Whitey Bulger. Moly. Yeah, it was like, or it might have been the Benedict Cumberbatch did a movie about it recently. I think Johnny Depp did it. That's what it is. Not Jack Nicholson. It was Johnny Depp, where he had all the makeup on.
Yes.
That was the life of Whitey Bulger. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's kind of cool they did that. Oh, that's okay,
so
cool.
Whitey Bulger's a real character.
Oh, wow.
So it kind of gave credence to the fact that, like, I love this show that it does that. Like, Mejia is obviously an El Chapo.
Right.
Like the real El Chapo. He's kind of our version of that. But the fact that they use real people, Whitey Bulger.
Exactly.
What's going on?
I love it. He's like, I want to be with Dad. So
he is this huge guy. So Bryan, of course, takes it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he gets, and he knows that Bryan takes off, and everyone's like, what's he doing?
What is he doing?
And one of the team members was like, just let him do it. You know, this guy, you know, kill this, help supply the weapons to kill his sister.
Yeah.
Trust him.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, what's he gonna do here?
Yeah.
And he walks up and throws a tracer on the van.
Which I actually thought I was afraid he was going to do something like more
right,
bold.
Yeah.
I was even nervous because I'm like, because he didn't listen to Christina. He went against her orders. She was like, get back in.
I know.
She was sounding like a mom. She was like, you get back in this car.
Get back in here right now or you're going to be grounded.
Literally. And so I'm like, oh no, like what is he going to do?
I thought he was going to walk up to the van and like smash the glass with his gun and pull the guy out.
Dude, but too.
He was smart.
I thought
he just put a tracker on the van.
I thought that was so smart.
So then we're back at a safe house that the team has, and Christina's laying
upset.
into him.
Totally
it's like,
upset.
You don't know who this guy is. And that's where we found out how big Dunn is.
Exactly.
And Bryan's like, you know what? Yeah, it worked.
It worked.
And then in the other room, the team's like, hey, we found the tracker. It's working. And Bryan's just kind of sitting there like, see, it worked.
And she's like, don't say a word.
Yeah, she's like, you got lucky.
Yeah.
And then the team is figuring like, what are they gonna do? Do they grab Dunn? Do they grab VTech? And Bryan kind of comes up with a plan.
I loved that. So I even wrote here, I feel like he was coming to his own, and I'm starting to see the Liam Neeson character.
Yes.
Because they were like, well, how are we going to do this? And it kind of took his lead. And I feel like she still kept her power by saying, you're staying in the van for this one.
Like, they all agreed. All four of them were there.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's a good plan.
He's actually starting, I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is maybe for later, like a prediction, maybe I should save it. But maybe eventually down the line seasons, he would become the Christina. I mean, maybe she decides to... Do you know what I mean?
I absolutely do know what you mean. Yeah, it's so interesting because it's cool the fact that like it's not like a lot of times they do origins or prequels where we know. I would use like Rogue One, the Star Wars movie, for example. Like we never see those characters again. They are all gonna die.
Yeah.
But with this, we don't need to see them again. So we're not going, okay, all these people are gonna die. Christina's gonna die. We don't know. Because they're still kind of in their lives, and Bryan, when the movie takes over, he's just kind of moved on from this life.
Exactly.
So it's kind of cool that these people will probably be around for a long time with him, which is really cool to see.
For sure. But I thought that was a huge thing, him coming to his own.
Yeah, that was great. So they decide they're going to grab VTech. VTech's at his place, and he goes to send some guy for coffee. He's with some woman. He's like, yeah, go get coffee. Mm-hmm. So this guy goes and gets coffee. The team grabs the coffee guy. But then we noticed there are police officers that have VTech's house under surveillance, right? Which was kind of like, you know, what's going on here? But we don't know. We don't have no idea. The team kind of makes quick work. They sneak into VTech's house by pretending to be the coffee guy, and they grab him.
So swift. The whole thing was really, just like really felt like a movie again.
Yeah. So then they're kind of sneaking him out, and then we have a standoff between the Canadian police, right? And our team. And it's guns drawn, and our team says we're GSG-9, which is German. The German, I guess that would be the German CIA. Yeah, like and the French are like, what? And like they flash badges and
he had the accent going on.
Yeah, and then Christina's like to Riley, jam all comms for 2 minutes into Germany, like all the traffic channels. So they jam that.
Yeah.
Our team, they let him go, and then they kick out, like, what was it, the coffee guy?
Yeah, and they're like, here's a gift for you.
Yeah, gift wrap for you.
Yeah,
and they grab VTech, and he's like, oh, do you know who I am? But then they find out, Christine and Riley are like, hey, guys, they just called Germany. Our comms down. Your cover's blown.
Everyone's out,
and then we've got this giant car chase. Great chase. All the team's in the van. They're trying to get VTech out. And we've got like kind of almost a two-parter.
Right.
We have the police officers chasing them. They were able to evade them. But then VTech's men come after them. Motorcycles.
Two motorcycles in a van. Right.
And it was really cool because it was a cool car chase.
It was really cool. And it felt real.
Yeah.
And I was literally on the edge of my seat, and every time a pedestrian would go on, I was literally like moving.
Those two old people. Like,
yes, I was like, oh no, it was close.
Those are stunt people, not extras.
I know. I was like, oh. So it was I thought it was really good. I feel like all the action in the show, it feels real. And it feels like it makes sense.
Yeah, it's a really good stunt department with those guys.
Yeah.
So then the team knows, and this was interesting, there was no sense of like the team going, oh, we're screwed. We can't get him out. Mm-mm. So they had a drop car that they were going to, but they were still being chased. So the team gets out, and they're like, Bryan, let's go. And Bryan takes off in the van. They're like, what is he doing?
Right.
And if I remember correctly, one of them said, and then Christina and everyone went back to basics, like, what is he doing? You got to get out of there. And I think one of the guys said, he's being used as bait.
Right. So I think it was because she said because Riley was like, "Did he just sacrifice?"
Yes.
And she was like, "Yes, that's what happened." But I guess it was interesting because not everyone in the team, as we find out later, may have saw it that way.
Right. Yeah. They weren't like, "Oh, good for you, Bryan. Thank you."
Exactly.
The team you stick together, but
so
he doesn't. He takes off.
He takes off, and I'm gonna say I was enjoying the episode, but from this point on, it became for this reason.
I saw it when we were watching. You were like, yeah.
I was just in it. Like, oh my God, I loved it. I really, really liked it. So
they get him.
They get him.
VTEX men grab Bryan.
Right.
And then we jump to the torture.
The torture.
Which we knew kind of from the beginning of the episode.
God, I sound so morbid. It's like, this is my favorite part.
But I get what you like because for the first time, and this kind of now with him tortured, we started doing intercuts with flashbacks with the team.
That was what I loved. Oh my gosh.
And it was like they were training him. First, we had Dave kind of doing some fighting with him, and he's basically thinking, no, you Rangers think you're so good. You think you're so special. You're not special.
You're not special.
And then we get the team, and it was kind of a toss-up between Dave and Scott. The two of them really, they kind of had him in a container, and they were teaching him how to resist torture interrogation. And the way that they lit it, right? I mean, they kind of had that like reddish tinge. And
so the flashbacks were like a rust orange, and then and I really liked the torture part was like that blue. So it just it was easy for you to see the difference.
When Bryan was being tortured by VTEX men, you mean?
Right.
With the blue.
It was with the blue.
Yeah.
But I just liked it because I didn't feel like it was trying too hard. I feel like it was just enough.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes when they do flashback scenes, sometimes it's like that. It's almost like a pale grayish white.
Yeah.
I do not like that. So I think it was I thought it was cool that they went with the orange.
It added, and this has a lot to do with the cinematographer. You felt the heat of the room and the sweat, and you're just like, this is miserable. This sucks.
This is horrible.
That sucks what he's dealing. But they told him, it's like, and the cool thing was with this, and you guys watch this because we can't do it justice.
Yeah.
What Bryan was dealing with in the current situation was being flashed back to how the team was training him. It was like going to go step by step by step. Like,
I loved
you got to wear him down. You got to go to a place which do you believe in something? Do you think of something where you can go to that place? And then once you reach this level, then they're going to try and
do this,
befriend you and
then the overall, I loved all of that. I feel like you could take that and apply it as like life advice for anything.
Yeah,
but I really liked it says, you're to keep in mind over everything is that your enemy is still a human being. So be patient until you can find something to work with. I just loved all of it. I thought it was really, really great. I love the way they cut it. I feel like it was, like I said, my favorite sequence as far as the show so far.
And our team back at the base, at the safe house, are interrogating VTEC, and they're kind of like, I don't speak English, and like, are we?
That was funny.
we know numbnuts.
Yeah, exactly.
We know numbnuts.
Yeah.
You speak English, numbnuts.
Yeah, seriously.
I love those guys together.
I do
think
too.
That's such a good group of guys.
I agree.
And they're kind of finding out about Dawn and the weapons and all that, and where they meet and the drop in that. That's kind of where we get that little. But we also, Riley says, hey guys, the tracker is moving on the van. Mm-hmm. So we kind of find that Dunn's men are going to where they've got Bryan.
Yeah, because
so that was really cool.
Right, because at that point we see him, he's having steak or like
dinner.
We
did not know how the team was going to get to Bryan, but so Riley, the tracker that was on the van that they put at the beginning of the episode,
but
is
Bryan
going.
Put on at the beginning.
Yeah,
so he saved his own life.
Right, so they're going to where Bryan is because Dunn's like, get this guy.
Take care of it.
He knows us. He knows who we are. We got to take care of it.
Right.
So then Dunn's men grab Bryan. They kill VTEC's men right there, and they grab Bryan.
And it just goes like clockwork as what his partners say. There's going to be like the good guy. And he says also to, make them think that you're so tired that you can't drink, do anything.
You can't do anything.
And there's either two options. They're either A, going to kill you because they don't need you, or B, they're going to rest you up and try to get you some more energy. Yep. And it's a win-win either way.
Right. And this was a little weird. So they bring him back to kind of, I guess, Dunn's safe house area.
Right.
And I don't remember if I missed it, but they did hook him up to a polygraph because they had the computers there.
Yeah.
And they kept questioning him, asking questions, and like it was one thing. I think David said it to him in the flashback. He's like, there will come a point you won't be able to resist anymore, and don't.
Yeah, don't
just
try
be
to
honest.
mess.
Don't try and mess with the machine. Don't try and beat it at this point.
And he kind of did though.
He tried to a
He
little bit.
tried to lie.
And it didn't work. And then he kind of said, yes, I work for the government.
Right.
But it slowly bought the guy's trust because he's like, let the guy feel confident that he's winning and he's doing a good job. And they'll buy your time.
Right.
He drank out of tea, and then he couldn't drink the tea. Now, you noticed it, and I don't know what it was, but Bryan starts cutting his bonds. Remember, he had something in his hand. It looked like, I don't know
that?
If we missed it again or something. Maybe if you guys are watching, you can tell us.
Please.
There was a scene where he's got something under his hand, and he's trying to get through whatever his hands were.
Right.
I mean, it looked like a shard of metal or something.
I was so nervous because remember he's like, I'll take that smoke now.
Right. Yeah, he wanted the smoke.
And so I was like, worst case scenario in my mind.
His eye was all like bloodshot.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
I remember thinking like, oh no, is he going to like come up and like somehow like slit the guy's wrist?
Right.
Like I was ready to close my eyes. Like my eyes were like halfway open, halfway closed because I can't. That freaks me out.
Bryan does take the advantage. The guy comes in, flips the table, kills the guys, and is able to kills the two guys behind him, not the guy interrogating him, not the main kind of guy handling this. And Bryan is making his way out of the base, shoots two more guys, and how many more guys are there? He's like 3.
Right.
And so the 3 guys are surrounding Bryan, and Bryan is sitting there, and
Wait, I think we got something from Ivan. It was a necklace from a goon Mike. Was that what? So it was a necklace.
It was like the cross, right, guys?
Well, I wonder when.
Didn't he see the cross on his neck on one of the guys?
Oh, okay.
I'll have to go back and watch when he
grabbed
grabbed it.
I'll have to go back and watch it too.
But I remember they did show because remember he asked Dave, said, "Hey, is there anything you like? Do you do?" And he's like, "Well, do you believe in God?" He's like, "Well, I've been known to pray." And then it cut to the current day, and that guy had the cross dangling on his neck.
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't catch that. So
but I was right,
amazing.
so I think that's what I think, guys.
Yeah.
So
He said it was.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, it seems a little convenient, unfortunately.
Yeah,
that's true.
I mean, he needed something.
He needed something because there was no way that he would have been able to get out of there. But I mean, if you think about it, his guys were fairly close. I mean, he would have. But
so Bryan is able to get out with the guy, but there are other men out there, and they're basically telling us like, "Hey, our boss told us to shoot through him."
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, and the guy being held with the gun.
He's like, "What the heck?"
He's like,
Yeah.
So Bryan's like, Bryan knows this isn't going to end well, and then we hear the shots of gunfire. Right. And again, we don't know, but Bryan doesn't know. He's like, "You can come out; it's taken care of." And it wasn't like that moment. Bryan doesn't come out the corner like, "Hey guys," he's just like, "All right, I'm coming out. This is I can't do anything. I'm caught. Right. All right, here we go again." And it's the team.
Oh, I loved it.
And this was the moment. It was like there was no big crescendo of heroic music. It was just the moment of, you guys came back for me.
Right.
I did what you told me as far as the training. It worked. I trusted in you to do this training, and I'm still alive, and you guys came back for me.
And that was one of the main things that he had told. He was like, never lose faith in the team.
Right.
Because every minute, every hour you make it through without talking, we're basically getting closer. Right. To finding you. So,
sorry.
Do you agree? He
does. He's
so cute.
Which was just a great moment. And the next thing, it was a little weird. So we're cutting to this, like, it looked like kind of like a truck stop. They have all these semi-rigs, and this huge guy.
Huge. He was giant. I didn't know where this came in at first. I was confused.
Yeah, at first I'm kind of what I thought was going to happen was like, oh, they're going to steal this truck. They're going to use this to smuggle this guy out of Canada.
Okay, because I was like,
that's
where is this coming from?
I thought because this guy was important, they're going to have an asset to use against Dunn.
Right.
They'll use this guy to smuggle him out, which was not the case.
Yeah.
The weapons that they were smuggling were inside this truck. So we find out that's where the weapons are. Dunn finds out, and they make the guy call Dunn saying, "Hey, I've been hijacked." Mm-hmm. So this gets Dunn to kind of get out of his area. He's ready to. They've got to go and escape.
Which was so smart.
Right. But then the team is ready. They tear gassed inside the elevator.
Pulled him
out. So they've got the team. And then we kind of cut to the FBI being handed over, or the ODNI team handing over to the FBI, Dunn and VTech. So it's almost like a double whammy for the team.
Oh, like
they got this head of the East Coast mob, and also a massive weapons supplier.
Mm-hmm. And all the weapons. I mean, everything. I mean, so not that they would probably use them.
Huge score for our team.
Right.
Which kind of wraps up the main plot. But then, to me, the two best scenes of the episode came after this. So we've got the kind of team back at their base. They're kind of like, it's like the locker room, right? I guess it's kind of like the cool locker room.
Before we get into that, I actually, when you said there was no heroic music, there was no, I actually was surprised that it seemed like no one really like addressed what happened even with Bryan. Like I feel like I would have been like, man, do you guys want to know what happened? Like I feel like there was nothing. So it brings to this scene where you're about to go into, because I was thinking, I'm like,
so
I like that.
Before we got to the scene,
right?
You were like, oh, they're not going to talk about it.
I mean,
or afterwards,
just
in general.
I think right as that locker room scene started,
okay,
and he was kind of walking away. Because remember when they began talking,
okay, buddy.
He's like, okay, do you have something to offer? He's like, I have something.
Can you shut up and take me home?
Can you take me home? But I think it was because they didn't actually have the exchange till after Bryan was walking away. So I'm like, and I feel like even the way when Bryan turned around, it was good acting because he was kind of like how I was feeling, like, man, it's not gonna be addressed. Like what is that? Like he went through so much. Like I don't know, but
I don't know if maybe just for them it's.
Is it a guy thing?
Well, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
But I think for all these guys, I think at one point in their lives they've probably dealt with torture. It's
maybe
par
you're
for the
right.
course for them. I don't think.
Maybe they're like he doesn't want to.
Or I think, dude, get used to it. It's gonna happen again.
Or
if you're lucky.
Or you put yourself in that situation.
Yeah, it's like I think that was another thing. They were too.
Yeah. So,
you know, it was kind of, so we get to the team, and this was kind of cool for Bryan. He just turns and says, hey, thank you.
Right.
And at this point, you're like, cool. They're all going to have the guy moment.
And
they're
so.
like, yeah, no, basically, hey, shithead.
Yeah, I know, exactly. No.
Not cool. Not cool what you did. Because
we're a team.
We're a team. We had to come back for you. And the good point was that they were like, and they all have that like look like, you know, any one of us could have died now. We're all here, but we could have died having to go back for you, and you put us in that position. But then it turned, and every single one of them had that moment of "you're welcome." Like,
right.
and they all did it in their own way.
I agree.
They all had that like that nod.
One was like a fist
I
pump.
think it was either Scott or Dave gave him the fist bump.
Yeah, one was like,
and
"You're glad to be. It's nice to be alive, right?" Like everyone did it in their way.
Yeah, Dave, I think Scott said it's nice to be alive, and then Dave gave him the fist bump.
Right.
And those were the two guys that were mainly in his torture training.
Exactly.
So it was just that to me was like, man, that was cool because it wasn't again, oh hey, we're all buddy, let's clink beers.
Right.
Now they're pissed off. They could have died.
Yeah, which I thought that was cool too.
Right.
I really liked it, and I thought it was really good acting. On I always want to just say Clive, on Bryan, Clive, whatever.
Yeah.
On his part, the look that I just feel like he had such a, not defeated because it wasn't that. It was maybe an exhaustion.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was the perfect end for that.
He's coming to grips with the fact that he's like, again, it's like, that's hard. Got to be hard, you know. Like, but also it's like the team's like, hey, we do this together. You're not this lone guy anymore. We are in this, and your actions affect us.
Exactly.
You know. So I thought that scene was fantastic. I loved that scene. I loved it. But then even the next scene. So we've got Bryan and Asha with dinner with the parents at a nice fancy restaurant, and I loved it. It was so, you know, the father's trying to ask what Bryan does, and Bryan's basically like I'm not gonna lie to you. You know, between what my sister told you, and then the mother's like, well, just so you know, Kaylee was like a second daughter to us.
It kind of reminded me of the lie detector thing, where he was kind of like, don't even try to lie.
Right.
So I think at that moment he was just so.
And it was cool because like Asha knows what he does. He could lie to them, the parents, but he said, he was like, I can't tell you what I do. You know what I do.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, from what your daughters told you and my sister, you know what I do.
And I'm ex-military.
I don't think he needs to go into details of he goes into this group that tortures people and uses serial killers to get information from people.
Yeah. Let's serial killers lick people's faces.
But, and then this was really cool with the father, because the father's like, well, thank you for your service. The father was like, I was like, oh my gosh.
Did you get
cool.
teary-eyed? Okay, maybe it's like a little emotional.
But it's great because it's like, this man, I mean, I don't know. I'm not in the military. I would never know what a parents would be if their daughter brought home a man who was in the service like that. And not even just the service, like as in he does stuff that's they can't
next
talk
level.
about.
Exactly. It's
like,
not just the
is this
service.
man going to leave my daughter a widow? Are they going to have kids one day? And is this man going to leave, you know, with no father to raise to? So, a very subtly stated scene.
I thought it was so great, and I actually got a little teary-eyed.
Yeah,
I thought it was so cool.
And how I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, because all these characters right here, all these 10 people, well, we'll take 2 of them out. We'll take Bryan out and we'll take Asha out. All of them we don't ever, we could see, because Bryan, they're not the characters in the film, but we don't know. But Asha, that is a character he does not end up with.
That's true.
We know he does not marry her. He knows, knowing that the film
he could have been. It
marries,
could have been his
Lenore.
first wife, though. It could have been.
Could have been. Could be.
I mean, I want to.
I want to say Asha is not meant for this world to stay.
Are you talking about
however long the show goes? I hope it goes for 9-10 seasons.
Oh
Because I think I read somewhere, and I don't know if this is correct, but I think this show is at least 15 years previous to where Bryan is in the movie. Because in the movie, I think they played Liam Neeson's real age, and he was like mid-50s, and Clive's mid-30s. So we've got at least 20 to 30 years.
Yeah. Wow.
Because his daughter is high school, and she's, we'll say, I think they mentioned senior trip in the first movie, so we'll say 17 or 18. So that's maybe 5 or 6 years.
Oh, you're right. That's okay.
That we have to, before he has to meet Lenore and have a child.
But
I would love to see them meet Lenore. I would love to see that.
I would love that. I would love that too. But do you think that they would? Because there's kind of not. I mean,
they really don't talk timelines. That's not a thing.
Right.
You know, this show, who's to say that each season is a year? It could be each season is a half, because there are only 11 episodes or 10 episodes. It could be half a year.
Could be 6 months.
So we got plenty of time. But Asha and him, we just know him and Bryan are not ending up together.
I thought
you don't think so either, do you? He's like,
he's like, no, I don't. You know, I thought you were alluding to that little teaser of.
Okay, so we talk about next episode. Okay, so next episode, and again, here we are, and I'm not going to get into this because I don't believe it. But it says that how was it kind of mentioned? It was like someone close to the Bryan
basically
gets
someone's
caught up in
dying.
his world, and someone is dying.
Someone is dying, and
now
so
I call BS on this. I was screwed on the mole hunt thing, because thinking the mole, and it turned out to be a mole, but in the government. So I think someone's gonna die this episode, but it's no one in the team. It's not one of these people.
So you don't think it's? I hope not for here, because I'm not
gonna be marking off any person on the show. You know what? Looking at this,
I mean, Asha though, do you think they would? They wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. I would be devastated. Please don't kill her.
Because we need to have the payoff with the neighbor and the surveillance with Mejia. That's a massive, massive thing that's going to happen.
But that could be like the season finale.
I think she's getting kidnapped.
Definitely. Oh, yeah. Do you think definitely season finale, or do you think that's going to be before?
And I will say this, because one of the other shows I'm covering, and a lot of shows I've been covering or talking about lately, they don't do season finales anymore, leaving you on cliffhangers. They do finales, but they don't do cliffhangers. They're always just like, well, we're wrapping it up.
Yeah.
And most shows don't. This show, because they posted it, they said, we have 2 more episodes left to the season finale. They made a big deal, and they went into the show. A lot of shows only get like 6 or 7 episodes, then say, all right, we're going to give you a half season. We'll give you a full season. This show knew going in it was 10 episodes, and they were going to pick up all 10. Mm-hmm. So the writers, even if they didn't get a second season, which we still don't know about, which we should know pretty soon. I would say by the end of April we'll know. But they knew they were getting at least 10, so they have a plan. So I think this is definitely going to build. We've got 2 more to build to the finale.
Maybe more character developing, or no?
I don't know, because next episode they really didn't seem like anyone.
You know what I would love?
We really need a REM episode. We haven't had a REM.
Yes, I agree.
This was definitely a Scott and Dave, because with him and the torture stuff, and they were kind of his training for that. We had John last episode, Riley before that. I'd love Becca to get a scene with her.
I know.
She seems kind of like, I know Jennifer was saying, like, she ping-pongs between the field team and the tech team, because she's with the tech team this episode.
Because she was kind of in it a while, and then, you know.
Yeah. So I'm hoping for her, but we'll see.
They're saying Asha, the true, oh, darn it, I missed it. I think they were saying possibly Asha. Were you saying that possibly Asha may be the one to go? Ivan? I don't.
It's too soon for Asha.
Too soon for Asha.
That's what I'm saying.
Too soon. Asha, the true first taken victim. Haha.
So,
oh my gosh. That's true. That is true. She's the true first taken victim in a way, because she is going to be taken. We do know 100% that she's going to be taken. Yeah. We just don't.
Right.
That's what we do know.
I would say that's going to happen.
I would be so sad if something happened to her.
I don't see it. Not this soon. I think they'll build them up a while.
I
think so. She's a good addition to the team.
I agree.
But I don't know. Okay, so what do you think's happening next episode? All right, let's do predictions. We're going for predictions now. Let's shoot those predictions out here.
Okay. I wonder.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
What's going on?
What's going on in here?
What do you think?
Oh my gosh. It's hard because the show, a lot of times brings in a new plot.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Or whatever the subject line is. What I kind of wish would happen is if they took these next 3 episodes and they made this. Whatever the new plot is, they stretched it out. So it was something. It wasn't
it's kind
new.
of like a 3-parter.
Or like a 2-parter, or just maybe more of a through line.
Instead of being just a single episode.
Being something totally different.
Not even related to what we think is going to happen at the end. Okay.
Right. But okay, let me think. What do I think for predictions?
Seeing that trailer, I don't know what's going to happen because it's just said someone close to Bryan dies.
I don't think it's someone on the team.
No,
that would be shocking.
I don't think there's anything in there.
I mean, but do you think, like you said, that they have a story, they have a plan? You think that they would let someone go? I mean,
I don't know.
What do you guys think? I don't know.
So I got to try next week.
Know.
Guys, reach out to us. Let us know your predictions. But
I know.
With that said, I think that pretty much wraps it up for today. It was a really good episode.
It was a good episode. I loved this one.
We sat there as soon as it was over talking, and I don't have to make up enthusiasm for the show.
I agree.
And I really hope, I'm old school. I buy Blu-rays still. And I hope the show comes on Blu-ray because I have it on Hulu and I kind of go back and watch.
Right.
But I really want to watch it again. I just can binge watch this show again because I
think
really
so too.
enjoy the show. I
agree.
love the characters. That's the great thing about the show. It's really made us feel for every one of these characters. They're not
agree.
just because like we're saying, we hope
it was subtle.
We hope it's not this. We hope it's not that because we've already invested in these characters.
And it was subtle because I didn't really notice that I was so invested until I'm like tearing up at the end of the episode.
It works great. All right, well we're gonna get out of here right now. Young lady, put yourself over. Where can they find you at?
You guys can find me on Instagram, Brittany_McGowan, and then Britt. Oh my gosh, is it _McGowan? Yes, Britt_McGowan on Twitter.
Yes. Hey guys, thank you again for joining us. I'm Mike Kalinowski. You can find me at Mike Kalinowski. I'm here on AfterBuzz. You can check me out from MacGyver, Into the Badlands, and Iron Fist. I'm also going to be back at DC Movies. If you guys are fans, I know I've been gone for a while. Work has been up and down, but I'm going to be here this week. All things, hopefully, fingers crossed, to talk all things DC with you guys. Yes. But that's it. That brings us to episode 7 of Taken. Yes. We're going to see you guys next week. And if you like what you saw here, guys, please reach out on Instagram and social media, iTunes. Give us that 5-star rating, all the thumbs up.
Yes.
Because we love doing this. We want to do more.
Yes, we do. We love it. And we love you, Brooke.
Yes, we'll see you next week, guys. Take care, guys.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.